Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to share an encouraging podcast with you today. My friends, you are not behind. You are just in the month of May, otherwise known as May-cember. And here is what actually helps. Before we dive in, I want you to do something really quick. Go ahead and pull out your phone and open up your notes app. I'm going to do the same thing. Got to open. Take a look at what's on your to-do list. Here's just a little sneak peek into mine. Buy a teacher appreciation gift. Get Keppa to finish his thank you notes and clean his room. Schedule skateboard summer camp. Drop off a book club book for a friend. Confirm that I received a hotel reimbursement for a canceled travel plan. Look up a lacrosse tournament scheduling details and make some decisions on that. Buy more hemp seeds and about 10 other additional important work deadlines that need to land before the summer. I'm curious what your to-do list looks like right now, this time of year. And I actually want to reframe what I just read to you. That's not a to-do list. It's actually a snapshot into the reality of modern motherhood in the month of May. And there's an interesting thing about that list. Like, none of those things are bad things. I actually want to do and enjoy all of those things. And when I look at my calendar coming up for the month of May, it is stacked and full. And yet everything on it is important to me. I chose to do it. I actually want to do all of it. It's just all of it all at once that is creating that full volume challenge. So the lacrosse tournament is fun. The teacher appreciation matters. Upcoming travel plans are exciting, but all together on that same to-do list in the same phone in the same week, it's a lot. So I'm wondering if you've heard those buzzwords of like mayhem or May-cember. May-cember means the December of the spring. It's the month where the calendar is full of the things that you really actually want to do, just like I said, including all those evening sports schedules and additional school to-dos before the summer lands. Weekends are booked before we've even recovered from the last one, and the deadlines are stacking up before the summer, and your kids, who are just as tired and as overstimulated, but also as excited and eager as you are starting to show it, maybe in their mood or in their behavior. Underneath all that May-cemberness of like so many events, so many activities to do, there is this pull, this natural pull this time of year, that spring energy that wants us to say yes to everything, to bring in more joy and beauty and novelty into our worlds. And yet maybe our brains and bodies are starting to quietly and persistently start to wave a white flag of surrender. If you're feeling it like I am, you're not doing it wrong. You're just in May. It is only May 5th at the time of this podcast episode being released, and I am already feeling the full on May-cemberness of it. And we're only a couple of days in. And I had come off a particularly long lacrosse tournament where I was the parent in charge, and I was really feeling it, especially with the pending to-dos that I just read to you, but also those 10 projects I was referencing on my to-do list. And my husband made a gentle joke. It was a well-meaning joke. He's like, Kara, don't you think it's ironic that you're talking to moms about being vibrant and you're like full on stressed right now? And it was a very good natured way from his side of saying, hang on, take care of yourself here. Be thoughtful about what you're saying yes to and be willing to let some things go. That's what he meant. But the invitation, what I heard in that with him is like, oh yeah, I always think that if I'm feeling bad, I'm doing something wrong. Like if I'm feeling stressed about May, it means that I've made a problem with my commitments, that I've agreed to do too much, or that I'm not doing the right thing, or that I'm not using my skills enough, or that I'm failing in some way because that full load of May is actually difficult to bear. And it was a wonderful reminder. And I was able to respond back to him like, actually, I'm so grateful that I have all the vibrant mom skills that I have. Otherwise, I think it would be feeling even worse for me. And I think I would be struggling much more than I actually am. In the moment, I was in a moment of struggle. I was hangry and tired and just needed a good night's sleep. But in the big picture, it allowed me to get in touch with what I think is the actual opportunity of the month of May. So if we're joking about May being May-cember, and by the way, even my son's principal named it in her newsletter. She called out the mayhem and May-cember of it all. So what do we do when we don't want to say no to any of it, any of those things on the to-do list, any of the commitments or events or activities? Like, for the most part, other than the normal adulting and lifing stuff, it's all fun. Most of it is a really important part of this really specific and precious time with our kids, with the transition to those long and glorious late spring evenings. Like, we wouldn't trade any of those things, but how do we get through it without time just like racing by, without getting hijacked by stress, and without arriving at the other side of May, like without arriving at June 1 feeling even more depleted than we started? So I think there's a reframe opportunity here for all of us. May-cember isn't just a challenge to survive, it's an opportunity. And whenever we're in a prolonged challenge as human beings, like a stretch of time where there is an ongoing stressor or multiple ongoing stressors, and especially for ones maybe we didn't ask for or wouldn't have chosen if it were up to us, it can be genuinely helpful to ask ourselves, what is this an opportunity for? And not in a toxic positivity way, but in a very specific and personal way to each and every one of us. So I like to think about this as the opportunity within the opportunity. So the month of May, which is an ongoing challenge in its volume, is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity for something very specific for you, my friend. And it's definitely an opportunity for something really specific to me. Maybe there's a need to develop more inner resources when navigating kind of consistent adversity or struggle. Maybe it's an invitation to simplify or to practice letting go of outside opinions or external approval. Maybe there's an opportunity to discover an inner strength that you didn't know you had, to grow beyond your current capacity. Maybe it's an opportunity to shift something in your relationship with yourself or change up the way you're narrating your experience and talking to yourself on the inside. Maybe there are some habits that could use some shifting, and when there's so much going on, it could be a wonderful opportunity to start making those shifts. For me, the opportunity of May is to practice getting more comfortable falling short of expectations with grace. So not doing it perfectly, but just much more gracefully than I usually do it. Whether they're my own expectations or the actual expectations of other people or just my perception of other people's expectations. Already, the opportunity for me and the opportunity of May is to practice getting more graceful with falling short. That requires me to open up to disappointment, simplify, and show a lot of inner and outer grace as I'm moving through my day. So I'm wondering if you're wondering how I know that that's my work, like that's my practice, that's the opportunity that I could choose to take myself up on in the opportunity of May. How did I get there? Well, number one, that's an ongoing opportunity for me. This month just really allows me a lot of time to practice and grow those inner muscles. But I want to give you a little invitation right now to figure out what your opportunity could be. So I want you to imagine yourself maybe like 5 years from now down the road, and you're totally through whatever in your life is feeling most daunting or most overwhelming or most demanding. And if you could imagine looking back on it, what would make you most proud of how you navigated it? Not what you did necessarily or what you accomplished, but the way you showed up to the challenge in front of you. What do you imagine you might need to say to yourself on the inside to show up in that way? What small supportive actions, and ones that don't change the challenge itself, but change the you that's going through the challenge? What small actions might have made a real difference when looking back? For me, I'd be really proud if I didn't always take myself so seriously, if I was able to remain graceful even when things didn't go according to plan. And when I was able to actually slow down enough on the inside to savor and enjoy the experiences I'm having as they're unfolding. So that's how I landed on my opportunity for getting comfortable, falling short of expectations with grace. So your own answers to some of those kind of questions when you think about future you, looking back on present day you, might give you some clues to the specific opportunity for something to practice that will be either freeing for you or healing for you as you take on the opportunity of May to practice the opportunity for something that helps you to grow and get freed up over time. So, what does rising to meet the opportunity in front of you, whatever your individual opportunity is, what does it actually look like in a real May, the Mayness of May full on day? You don't have time to take the afternoon off. You're already committed. And so even saying no to some things helps a little bit, but not a ton. I actually go back to over and over again as I'm practicing embracing the mindset of this is an opportunity for me, which you already know what I'm going to be practicing. But I like to push 3 buttons over and over and over again. There are 3 simple things that you can do in the middle of a real decision-making moment or as you're moving through day to day to help you get through this month with more inner resourcing and also practically to help you get through it in a way that you're proud of. So the 3 buttons I like to push, they're the slow down button, the reset button, and the easy button. The first button, the slow down button, is not slowing down your calendar, slowing down internally. Yes, if you can take some things off your plate, you can say no to some things, that might help too. That might help to slow down the pace of the demand. But other than slowing down the pace of the demand, sometimes we can't really do that as fully as we would like to. We then need to turn inward and slow down the pace on the inside. It's practicing not letting what the demand and the pace and the pressure is externally become contagious and start to dominate and rule our inner worlds on the inside. And one of the ways that I found to be most helpful with that is to push that slow down button, reminding myself multiple times a day, wait, just do whatever you're doing slowly. Walk to the car just a little bit more slowly. Push that slow down button as I'm driving, not even like driving more slowly, but like softening my body, softening my mind, like slowing the whole thing down on the inside. So it's either doing what I'm doing in just a little bit more deliberate, paused way, or slowing the internal sense of push and pressure that I'm maintaining on the inside. And I like to try to make contact with the present moment. Just pause, take a couple deep breaths, look around, see some beauty around me, take a mindful sip of water, or just step outside for a moment, using my senses or sensory grounding as a way to get back to myself when the day starts to feel like something I'm racing through and checking off a list. So the slow down button is really just pausing, taking a breath, noticing what's around, noticing what's also within, coming back to ourselves, coming back to something that feels slow and kind and deliberate before moving on to the next thing. Those like pause points are just a reframe moment, just a pace down moment saying the day isn't something to survive or get through or accomplish. It's a series of moments that we can actually be present for and enjoy even in the mayhem if we slow down long enough on the inside to actually be there mentally and emotionally and not continually distracted by what else is on the list or what else is to come. The second button I like to push is the reset button. So in the full volume days, we are going to lose our cool. We're going to snap at someone. Things are going to go sideways. And I have found that something that can be really helpful is to push that reset button first on the inside and then actually initiate it externally if I need to make a repair with someone on the outside. But just to give myself permission, we can start over, we can reset. Just because the morning drop off was hard doesn't mean the pickup has to be a big deal. I think most moms can relate to when the demand is full, that when our kids are cooperative and agreeable, it goes much better for us. And when they're not cooperative, when they're not agreeable, when they're struggling, they're having their big feelings, it's almost like the bandwidth is so full, it's hard to have extra capacity to be with that resistance as well. And so more often than that, we're going to lose our cool. We're going to be less patient than we wanted to, a little more reactive. Sometimes we'll keep it together. Oftentimes we won't. So pushing that reset button, making a repair, forgiving ourselves on the inside, resetting, maybe doing a slowdown moment, and then beginning again is a really helpful tool to get through the month of May. To me, it's really an act of compassion and bravery to not define yourself or others for that matter, but to not define yourself by your weakest moments, your most difficult moments, to remember the fullness of who you are and to understand and calibrate your expectations that in a full volume time or when you're in a prolonged, challenging situation, it is an opportunity for you to practice something, right? There's the opportunity for the opportunity, but it's also going to require a lot of resetting and false starts and trying overs. Let's be generous with that reset button whenever we need it. All right, the last button that I love to push in those prolonged, challenging stretches of time, we'll use May as the inspiration for this teaching, is the easy button. So this is the practice of actively looking for where you can make things easier on yourself or easier on the schedule or easier on the family, not because you're giving up, because you're choosing intentionally where to put your limited energy and resources to. I don't know if you're like me, but I always need to be reminded that, like, oh, I have limits. Like, I can't do it all. And that every human being has limits and no one can do it all. And when we feel like we're reaching our limits or we've exceeded it, it's really important to give permission to recalibrate expectations, to simplify, to let go, to push the easy button. So when pushing that easy button, we're asking ourselves, what can be simplified? What can be skipped? What's in the calendar that can actually be let go? Even if it was something that in February I originally wanted and thought was a good idea. Being willing to let things go, even if they were important to you at one point, is not settling. It's a really emotionally mature skill to have. It requires giving yourself genuine permission to ask a question in the current moment without shame. Does this actually need to happen this week? What would be gained by doing less? If you're listening closely and you remember my opportunity, I'm wondering if you know which button is the hardest one for me to push. Spoiler alert, it is this one. But when you think and you look back at all of those three buttons, the slow down, the reset, the easy, they're all important and they all have value and they don't all need to be pushed all at the same time. You get to choose. But just because something is hard for you or for me doesn't mean it's not valuable to practice. So if you aren't sure yet what the opportunity of May is an opportunity for you to practice, maybe choose one of these three buttons. That could be your opportunity this month. So my friend, May is asking something of you. It's not asking for more productivity, not a better system. We just got to ride this system out until we get into June and we create a whole new system for ourselves that works for the summer, for our families, and for our work. May isn't asking for an even longer to-do list with the most efficient check-off strategy. May is asking you to rise to meet your specific opportunity for growth and to stay connected to yourself, even when life is full or overflowing. It's asking you to start practicing and continue practicing to approach the day not as something to race through and check off, but as something you're actually living while it's happening and actually being responsive and skillful as it's happening. The stronger and the freer you become at this, the easier it will be to push all of those three buttons and to meet the opportunities of the challenges in front of you with a sense of deep rootedness, self love, and connection within. What's the button you're going to be pushing this week? I'm going to be pushing all three on repeat, but especially really trying to hold myself accountable for that easy button so I can practice not meeting expectations with grace. I can't wait to hear from you. What's the button that you most need to be pushing, and what is your opportunity for growth and healing this month?